Hello, and welcome back to DocTrack Administrator Training. In this lesson, we'll go over how to set up virtual rule caching. As you might have already found out, virtual rules work well when all of the files you need are saved consistently with a logic that DocTrack can follow. But most of the time, they aren't. And in those cases, using a virtual rule to find the files you need can impact how fast Sightline works. But with DocTrack virtual rule caching, that's no longer a problem. With this feature, DocTrack immediately learns all of the files in a specified folder as well as its subfolders. From that point on, it will keep tabs on what's added, deleted, or changed in that location. This eliminates the need to perform the full dynamic search for each rule, and it drastically improves performance. Another benefit to this feature is that it allows you to use virtual rules without installing XP Command Shell. To use this feature, you must first install and run the DocTrack Virtual Rule Caching client on the file server. For guidance on this, you can refer to the DocTrack installation manual. After the client is installed and running, the next step is completing the DocTrack Virtual Rule Caching setup form. Here you enter a record for each location that you'd like DocTrack to monitor. To show how that's done, let's look at a situation where virtual rule caching can be really handy. We've set up form output profiles and document saving rules that will manage documents just the way we want going forward. But we have a ton of files that we've saved over a long period of time before we got DocTrack, and we want to attach those too. So I created these virtual rules to do just that. But as I browse through them, you'll see I had to make all of them recursive to catch all of the files that may need to be attached. So each one has to look through thousands of files. And of course, we've noticed a significant slowdown in Sightline. Now, all of my virtual rules are searching somewhere on this public folder, which has 3 subfolders: Miscellaneous, Restricted, and Work Docs. Most of us can't access the restricted folder, but we have full rights to the other 2. And that's where most of our older company documents ended up. So to improve our Sightline performance, I'm going to add these locations to my DocTrack Virtual Rule Caching setup form. I'll start by entering a cache ID in this field. This can be pretty much anything you want, so I'll just enter MISC. Then I'll go back to my File Explorer window, navigate to the Miscellaneous folder using a UNC path, copy the address, and paste it to the cache directory path. Next, I'll select Enabled, and then I'll select a weekly sync time here. Why am I doing that? Well, it's true that DocTrack will be monitoring the specified location and all of its subfolders for files that are added, deleted, or changed. So theoretically, it's always going to be accurate. But what if something unusual happens, like a power outage or a server goes down? It's possible that any changes to those folders will be missed during that time. So it's a good idea to resync these IDs periodically. DocTrack will then perform a complete inspection of those locations, just like the first time it was enabled. Then you can make sure that if there are any omissions, they'll only be temporary. First, I'll select the radio button for weekly, and then I'll set this one for Saturday at midnight. That way, if it takes a long time, it's very unlikely to affect anyone using the system. Then I'll add a new record and set up the Work Docs location the same way. I'll enter the cache ID as Work Docs, go to my File Explorer to navigate to that folder, and copy the path, paste the path here, enable it, And this time I'll select Sunday at midnight. Finally, I'll save them both. Okay, now for our next step, we'll go over to the utility server. Here, I'm going to run the DocTrack virtual rule click once client from the Infor folder. And here it is. Here you can see the new cache IDs. Each of these is showing the path to the parent folder that's going to be tracked. To see the setup detail, you can click the down arrows. This will display reference fields that show how the sync was set up, as well as the sync status fields. These gear icons indicate the tracking status. When you first add a cache ID, tracking is off. So to get the ball rolling, I'll start tracking for each ID by selecting the icons. Now when you do this for the first time, it will immediately learn all of the files that are in this location and its subfolders. This will update the status fields too. Now, while we're here on the utility server, I'm going to open Services, look for the SQL Server service, and take a note of the Windows account that's running that service. We'll come back to this in a moment. Back on my regular desktop now, I'm going to open the DocTrack parameters form. For this to work properly, Run File System Virtual Rules From must be set to SQL. Keep in mind that once you make this change, the Windows account that's running the SQL Server service must have access to all of the folder locations that are included in each of my cache IDs. If not, the file will not be attached, even if it matches the search criteria. From this point on, my virtual rules will run much quicker. And if I ever have any issues, I can come back here to temporarily stop tracking for troubleshooting, or I can resync it manually anytime I want. That's how you set up DocTrack virtual rule caching. And that's all for now. On our next lesson, you'll learn how to set up DocNodes. See you then.